Peter's in Haringey. Peter, your reaction to this. Good morning.
Yeah, I mean, Diane Abbott is a dinosaur, and she's making mistakes. It's just time she moved on and retired.
Why? She's got a majority of 33,000.
Yeah,
the people in her constituency, respectfully, really like her.
Yeah, well, that was when they voted then, but obviously she's made mistakes. She had the whip withdrawn, and the Labour Party is changing, and there's no place for her anymore.
Why is there no place for her?
No, I mean, it's a fantastic achievement being the first black MP, but that was over 30 years ago. I think the claims about her achievements are ridiculous.
Well, she ran for party leader admittedly she wasn't successful, in 2010. She served as Shadow Secretary for Public Health. She was Shadow Home Secretary. She has that extraordinary majority that I've mentioned. She's certainly been on or around the top table for over a decade.
Well, she's been around, but I don't think those are just doing the job. I don't know that she's actually achieved very much other than doing the job. It's a fantastic achievement being the first black MP, but that was 30 years ago. The world has moved on. You can't keep claiming those kinds of,
and I'm not justifying what she said, but for that slip, her career, at least as regards the Labour Party, is over. No forgiveness, Peter.
Well, I think Starmer's giving her the whip back, but he does. They obviously don't want her to stand again. So it's just time she moved on.
All right, you say it's time she moved on. I would have thought someone who commands that kind of love in her constituency. Let me remind you what it is. It's in London, Hackney, North and Stoke Newington. It's in London, Hackney, North and Stoke Newington is, I would have thought, a significant asset to the party. But what would I know? Peter, thank you. Norman's in Epsom. Norman, your view of this story and Labour's handling of it?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's terrible what's been happening. Nick, I saw you speak at the Royal Overseas League a few weeks ago, and I was the only black person in that audience.
Gosh, right.
I was the only black person in that audience. I could not tell you, and no one could tell you, how many Jewish people or travellers were in that audience. That's the point that Diane Abbott was making. That when I go into a meeting and when I go to a business
I see what you're saying.
It's very obvious who I am and what I am. And often, but not only in the UK but overseas, people will take an instant dislike to me because
I see
I'm
what
black.
You're saying, and you argue very.
Point. And that's the point. And she made her comments incorrectly, not elegantly, and she's been punished for them.
But then she also, Norman, she
sorry.
also likened the discrimination suffered by Jewish people to the bullying of redheads. Now that's
she was wrong in a historical context. Clearly, she was wrong, but it often takes a Jewish person to tell you they are Jewish before you know they are Jewish.
Indeed.
When I was at university in Manchester many years ago, there were 6 people on my course, 2 of which were Jewish. They came up from London because Manchester has a large Jewish community. And it was only because they couldn't go out on a Friday evening and they told us they were Jewish, that you knew they were Jewish. And that's the point that she was making. Her remarks were clumsy, her comments were clumsy, and she's apologised.
I wouldn't dream of asking you which way you vote, but is this a backward step for the Labour Party?
It's a terrible step for the Labour Party. Like her family, my politics are different to hers, but I do support the Labour Party. Mm-hmm. The fact that they've done this, it's indicative at the moment that the Labour Party has become somewhat unfriendly to black people. It's amazing that if you look at the Conservatives, the number of prominent black females in the Conservative Party has now overtaken the Labour Party. Why is that?
Well, you look at the top table of the Conservative Party, whether it's James Cleverly or Kemi Badenoch, or a few years ago you go through Sajid Javid and others. It's a very healthy representation. Norman, good to hear from you again. Thank you. Please excuse me moving on. It's only for time reasons. It was great, that event a month or so ago that you mentioned, 8:25 the time. Emails, text, tweets, X is coming in. Similar point to you, Norman. Ibrahim says, Labour's lost my vote forever. They're racist. Goodness me. Manish, Labour, one straight after that. Labour are racist. This shows the unfairness on Diane Abbott. At least the Tory party promotes diversity. They do, actually. It is remarkable how they've achieved that. James is in Barnes. James, have they gone too far with Diane Abbott in this case?
Yep. Morning, Nick. Yes, I think they have. I don't think it's Labour being racist. I think it is Keir Starmer unfortunately showing again his hypocrisy. He, on your show, it's been well documented, what he said about Gaza, which was unbelievable. And David Lammy at the time tried to make the excuse he was tired, he'd been interviewed. It was first thing in the morning. It was one of the first interviews he'd taken.
Yes.
Yeah, so that excuse is thrown out. And he made that point, Nick, in my humble opinion, because he wanted to appear without fail to show that there can be nothing that is said about Jewish people. And I know Israel is not the representative of the Jewish people in this country, but the link is obviously 100% there. And he said that for that reason alone, in my opinion.
James, thank you for your input on that. Only finishing to get more people involved. 8:27 is the time. Wesley in Gravesend, have Labour gone too far, or is it an appropriate punishment, as it were?
I don't think Labour, hi Nick, I don't think Labour has gone too far. Actually, I support the decision they made because if I just have this angle on it. This problem wasn't brought to Diane Abbott's feet. Diane Abbott brought this to the Labour Party by the letter that she's written. And I think whichever decision Labour takes, they will be criticised for it. So I think it's a catch-22 situation.
Hold on. If it's correct, you come to a decision last December. You instruct your Member of Parliament that we want you to go on training course. Apologise, go on training courses. Apology is forthcoming. The woman does her training courses, and then you say, right, you're not standing. If that is as it would appear to be the case, I think that's pretty low.
Okay, I don't know about whether she's done a course or anything of that sort, but I'm just looking at it from purely somebody who's listening to the radio, that if this went the other way, you'll get the other side of the argument piling on, they back to their old stance of being anti-Semitic and all of those things. I just feel it's like a catch-22 situation.
Wesley, thank you. Carl in Orpington. Carl, your reaction to the Labour action. Good morning.
Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Just wanted to say that I think the disciplinary panel's decision has misconstrued, misunderstood, or otherwise ignored the relevant issue. Factually, Jewish people are not a racial group. If you think that people who claim to be Jewish are Ethiopians, they are Eastern Europeans, they're a mix.
Well, yeah, it's still offensive to liken their suffering to redheads, isn't it?
Well, I think we have to clarify the nub of the issue, and the nub of the issue is...
Well, the nub of the issue is that she wrote something really stupid for which she apologised.
You may consider that she wrote
hold on. Don't dance on the head of a pin. She apologised, Carl. She admits that it was wrong.
That's a matter for her. I'm not Diane Abbott. I can't comment on that.
So you now know more than the author of the letter.
Well, our law knows more. I mean, the case of CRE and Dutton in 2002 established what a racial group was. That's a matter of law.
This was offensive to Jewish people, whether you use the word race or religion. It was offensive. End of.
We live in a society that is that operates on the basis of a rule of law, and that rule of law establishes a fair play.
Okay. Tell that to a Jewish man or woman who lost their grandparents in the Holocaust. And they didn't, and tell them that is why they should not be offended. Carl, I appreciate you're upholding the letter of the law, but sometimes the law is an ass. And just think about it. That's not going to help with someone's personal reaction, is it, in all honesty?